Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Namaskar, Jai Hind. I hope all of you are doing well, and I welcome you all to this platform of Khan Global Studies. I hope I am properly audible and visible to all of you. Good evening, Shankar. Good evening, Ayush Prajapati. Good evening, Ranjit. Tell me one thing, Ranjit. Last week you have asked me about the test papers. So have you gone through the revise recall things? Have you gone through just evaluation of the topic? Have you gone through the analysis of topic? And if you compare it now, how is your score in the test series? Have you gone through the analysis of papers? Good evening, Renu. Good evening, Nabiullah. Good evening, Prince. Good evening, Arman. बताने लायक नहीं है, क्यों? बताने लायक क्यों नहीं है? Why you cannot discuss it? You can always discuss this. There is always an option of discussion. इस बार next में अच्छा हो जाएगा. तो that should be the resolve. That should be the resolve that in next test paper you will be doing it better. So it's not about the test paper. It is more about like how you are integrating it in your study pattern. If you are able to integrate it well in your study pattern, that is good. Only 70% accuracy. Only 70% accuracy is quite sufficient, Prince Roshan. You can of course try to make it 80%, 85%. But even if you are getting 70% accuracy, that is still a very good number. That is still a very good number. And remember one thing, you are here in the month of January. You have still 3 or 4 months to work on that accuracy. And by the end of the March 2026, if you are able to achieve this accuracy of more than 85% or 80%, then it will be quite good. So 80-85% accuracy in UPSC exam, that is very good. Okay, that is quite good. So let's start today's session. Last day I have given you this one question. Which of the following is an artificial lake? I got answers from only 10 or 12 of you. So what about the rest of the people? I have got answers only from some of you. This is one of the pattern. This is one of the questions which is quite common in UPSC exam. They have been asking about artificial lakes. So what is the correct answer for this one? What is the correct answer for this one question? 2025 की जनवरी की क्लास कहां मिलेगी? On the same channel you will find that there is a class of January 2025. So there you will get this. Hey, I'm not taking the sessions only on YouTube. There is multiple batches going on simultaneously. There is Adhyan batch also. There is also classes in other batches which are going on. A option, Kodaikanal is one such lake which is artificial. Apart from this, Koleru, Nainital and Renuka, they are natural lakes. And at the same time, major sites of rhinoceros in India. So some of you have given the correct answer, that Kaziranga, Pavitra Wildlife Sanctuary, Manas and others. So that is also correct. Now the topics which we are going to discuss today, we are going to discuss in detail again about this Shanti Act. We are going to discuss the provisions of this Shanti Act. We are going to also see this remote sensing in science and technology part. We are going to discuss about this one also. And then we will discuss the places in news. Like we have Cuba, we have Mexico, we have Venezuela, we have Greenland. Multiple places are there in the news. Multiple places are facing an existential threat due to one of the president. Multiple places are on the radar. Multiple places are like trying to defend themselves against one leader of the world. So we are going to discuss about this one part. Okay. Now we are going to see some prelims specific article also in the prelims special section. Yes, Kaziranga Pavitra. So you have given a test today, but उस टेस्ट में 6 क्वेश्चन के आंसर गलत निकला है और उसका एक्सप्लेनेशन भी गलत दिया है. So you can search about that. See, the process is simple. If you find some question, if you think that your answer is correct, just go through them. If you think that the explanation is not sufficient, right now you have the opportunity. You can find it on Google, you can find it in your books, and then you can like reconsider that option. So it's quite simple. See, you don't have to become a person who is just trying to find out fault in the books, in the test papers or others. You have to become the person who is trying to get the best from these things. The best from them. You are trying to get the knowledge from them, not the review of them. You are solving any test paper, anything, anywhere. Just try to get the best out of them. Now, let's start today's session with this one question. Consider the following statements. Asiatic lion is naturally found in India only. Double-humped camel is naturally found in India only. One-horned rhinoceros is naturally found in India only. So what should be the correct answer here? Which of the statements given above are correct? So tell me this one part. Which of them are correct? Asiatic lion is found naturally only in India. Double-humped camel is naturally found in India only. One-horned rhinoceros is naturally found in India only. What would be the correct answer for this question? C option 1 and 3. C option, A option. Okay, there are two answers. One is C option, one is A option. Now, I think all of you agree. Double-humped camel is naturally found in India. No, it's not there. Gobi Desert. Gobi Desert is one such area where you will find the double-humped camel. Asiatic lions, yes, predominantly in India, naturally only in India. When we talk about one-horned rhinoceros, it is naturally found in India only. You can see around 97%, around 90 to 97% or more than 90% of the one-horned rhinoceros are present only in India, but the 10% can be found in areas of Nepal, Bhutan and other places. It is not exclusively or only found in India. This one part is incorrect. So here the correct answer will be option number A, that is one only. So here the answer is option number A, that it will be one only. One-horned rhinoceros can be found in some portions of Nepal also, certain parts of Bhutan also. Coming to question number 2. Here we have the first one. Olive ridley turtles are generally present along the eastern coast of Indian landmass. There is presence of shallow coast on western coast of India. There is first question. Statement 1. Olive ridley turtles are generally present along the eastern coast of Indian landmass. There is presence of shallow coast on western coast of India. Question number 2. What should be the correct answer? Good evening, Rishabh. What should be the correct answer for this one question? Kumar Shamo is saying option number A. Option number A. C option from Aditya. and Nishant and Ranjit. C option, B option from Pragya. Now, if you look at this, just see here, there is presence of shallow coast on western coast of India. Remember one thing, when we talk about western coast, when we talk about the western coast of India, it is a submergent coast. It is a submergent coast. So first thing is, here you will find deep coast. On the case of eastern part of India, in the case of eastern part, here you will find that emergent coast is there, and here you will find shallow coast. So first thing is, second statement is wrong here. Second statement is wrong here. Why are the olive ridley turtles predominantly or mostly found near the eastern coast? It is because of presence of the nesting site, presence of large nesting sites, presence of large nesting sites. This is the prime region. Large nesting site or the beaches which are there, they are the prime regions why the olive ridley turtles are generally found across the Indian eastern coast. Although some of them are present even at the western coast, but yes, on the eastern coast there is more and more nesting sites, particularly in Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. So here the statement is C. How many of the following are landlocked countries in South America? Bolivia, Paraguay, Colombia, and Uruguay. South America is the highlight. South America is the highlighted portion of the world right now, especially after the invasion, in Venezuela. Not invasion, rather than abduction of a sitting president of one country. And abduction should be considered as a crime. No, at that time I was not taking the Hindi classes, so it is not there. Hindi classes are available from the month of August. B option. B option. So which two countries are landlocked? Which of them are landlocked nations? Colombia is not a landlocked country. Uruguay is not a landlocked country. Bolivia and Paraguay, they are the landlocked nations of South America. So here the correct answer is option number B, only 2. Option number B, that is only 2. That will be the correct answer. Now, coming to this today's topic, the Shanti Bill. What does the Shanti Bill change? This is one thing which we are going to examine in today's session. That what are the major changes in the Shanti Bill? So can you tell me, like when we are talking about the Shanti Bill of India, can you tell me what are the major changes? When we are talking about the Shanti Bill, what are the major changes which we can see? Any idea about this? Some of you have read about this. Okay. Some of you may have read about this. The first major part is that opening up nuclear sector for private companies. Opening up the nuclear sector for private companies, that is the first part. In fact, it has been said that allowing foreign participation. So this is also something which has been done. Allowing the foreign participation. These two are the major changes. Which we see in the case of nuclear bill or the Shanti Bill. Opening up of private sector. Opening up of this private sector, that is one such major thing which has been done. But remember here, there is certain things which we have to understand first. Okay. Like where we will have the private companies. Can private companies do everything in case of nuclear sector? Are there certain areas which are prohibited? Are there certain areas which are prohibited, or what they can actually do? What they can actually do? Okay. So they can have, it allows the private companies and even the joint ventures to build on and operate. The private sector, they can build on and operate. They can build on and operate nuclear power plants. They can build on and operate the nuclear power plants. Okay. They can also be there in fuel fabrication. They can be there in fuel fabrication, means enrichment of uranium. They can be in part of equipment manufacturing. They can also be part of equipment manufacturing. So this is also something which can be done by them. They can be there in plant operations, nuclear power plant operations. So that is allowed for them. But what is not allowed? This is also very much important part, that what is not allowed for them. What is not allowed for them? What is the one thing which is prohibited in the case of this private sector? What is not allowed? Government is having control with respect to the certain things like radioactive waste management. It is having this control with respect to the radioactive waste management. Government will control certain parts like radioactive waste management. The radioactive waste management will still be under the control of the government. It doesn't mean that private sector will not participate. Private sector can have participation up to 49% in this part also. Private sector can have participation up to 49% in this part also. But government will have the final control. It will have 51%. Then nuclear fuel production also, and even the heavy water manufacturing. Nuclear fuel production, and even the heavy water also. In this part also, government will control. Government will ensure that there is a control. Okay. So this is one part. Private sector can participate in the fuel fabrication or fuel production part. Means they can take part in the fuel production, but not entirely. They can be part of this process, but not entirely. They will not have the final call. They can have 49% weightage in those ventures. They can enter into public-private partnership, but not have final say on this. So this is also one very much important part. At the same time, when we are talking about the foreign sectors, foreign sectors, so how it is going to be there? Is there going to be a direct investment? Is there going to be a direct investment in nuclear sector? Is there going to be a direct investment by the foreign entities in the nuclear sector? Okay. Is there going to be an automatic route? So when we talk about the Shanti Bill, when we are talking about this Shanti Bill, here there is no such thing, no explicit permission. There is going to be no explicit permission for foreign participation. Now, so how they will participate? Why it has been said that FDI has been allowed? So FDI will have allowed, FDI will get this, but after authorization, there will be a requirement of authorization. There is going to be a requirement of authorization. There is going to be a requirement of authorization. And this authorization is going to come from AERB. This authorization is going to come from one of the institute called as AERB, Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. Now this one institution is also quite powerful. Why? Let me show it to you. Why this board is very much powerful. This board is going to get a statutory status. This will get the statutory status. And the most important part, when we are talking about this one organization, there is a very important thing which you have to understand here. Earlier, the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board was reporting to the executive. It was reporting to the executive, to the government. But now it will be reporting to the parliament. This will give the report. This will be reporting to parliament. This will be reporting to parliament. So from here you can understand that it is not under the executive anymore. It is no more liable to report to just the executive. Now it will be accountable to the parliament. Now it will have accountability to the parliament directly, not to the executive, not to the government. So this is one board which has been given a statutory status as part of this atomic energy, as part of this Shanti Bill. So this is one board which will be responsible for nuclear safety, radiation protection, everything. So this is one part which has been fixed. Then you will find that is heavy water is drinkable. Heavy water is generally used as a moderator. It is generally used as a moderator in case of heavy water is used as a moderator in case of this nuclear reactors. Now, when we talk about this Shanti Bill, there is another part. The Shanti Bill, it is also having provisions with respect to liability. The liability. So, can you tell me what is the liability which has been fixed? What are the liabilities which has been fixed as part of the Shanti Bill? What are the liabilities which have been assigned as part of this Shanti Bill? The liabilities are as per the size of the installation. If there is an installation, of 3600 megawatt plant, okay. If there is a 3600 megawatt nuclear power plant, their part is 3000 crore. If there is medium range 1500 to 3600 megawatt, here we have the cap at 1500 crore. 1500 crore. And at the same time, for 150 megawatt capacity, this has been fixed at 100 crore. So this is the liability which has been fixed for the, this is the liability which has been fixed for the operators, that now it is dependent on the size of the installation. It is dependent on the size of the installation. One more question, a very interesting part, the liability of the supplier. The liability of the supplier. Tell me about this thing, that the supplier of the nuclear fuel or nuclear technology or nuclear equipments, what will be the liability or accountability of the suppliers? This is another very crucial part of the Shanti Bill, that what will be the responsibility, what will be the part of what will be the accountability or the liability of the suppliers. So anyone, what will be their role? What will be their liability? What will be the liability? What will be the liability of the supplier? Any idea about this? That what will be the liability for the supplier? How much responsible they will be? I think you might not be having this idea. Okay. Now, if we look at this, no liability, yes. No idea. Remember this one part? Nay, not 50%, 50%. Here is this one simple thing. No liability. No liability of the suppliers. This one part, the supplier's liability, was a major bone of contention. It was a major issue. Whenever we talk about this, it was a major concern about the nuclear deals. The foreign companies, the foreign entities were concerned about this supplier liability. They were concerned about this supplier liability in the Indian laws. Now the Shanti Bill is removing any such liability of the suppliers in case of any such nuclear damage or nuclear accidents. So there is no liability. Remember this one part. There is no liability of the supplier. So that is one of the provision of this Shanti Bill. Okay. So this is the first part, the Shanti Bill. The second topic which we have to see is remote sensing. The second topic which we have to see is remote sensing. Today in the newspaper, there is another article with respect to remote sensing satellites. फिर responsibility किसकी होगी in case of accident? Okay. In case of accident, the responsibility will be of operator. The operator will have the responsibility, and they will also have a responsibility up to certain fixed cap. If there is a power plant of 3600 megawatt, their responsibility is up to 3000 crore. Any other responsibility, any other liability will be for the government of India. Any further liability will be just of the government of India, not of the operator, not of anyone else. It will be solely of the government of India. So this is one part which we have to understand. In the Shanti Bill, there is no liability for the suppliers. Most of the foreign companies, apart from Russia, even if they have made deal with India, they have not started anything, they have not provided anything. Why? Because of this supplier liability clause. Because of this supplier liability clause, they were not providing any technology or any such thing, equipment to India. So this supplier liability clause has now been removed. Now, coming to this one thing, remote sensing. So can you tell me what actually is remote sensing? Operator ki salary. Operator means the company which is operating the nuclear power plant. Operator means the person, it is not about the person. It is about the company which is operating the nuclear power plant. Operator here refers to the company which is operating the nuclear power plant. Like earlier it was NPCIL, Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited. Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, that was the major operator in India, or you can say that it was the sole operator of nuclear power plants in India. Now private sectors can also become operator. So there is one thing college remote sensing. So can you tell me what exactly is this? You may have seen that there is remote sensing satellites. Remote sensing satellites. I think you all may have heard about this, remote sensing satellites. You may have heard about a number of them. Like we have the resource sat, we have the ocean sat, we have multiple types of remote sensing satellites: Cartosat, InSat, ReSat, OceanSat, ResourceSat. Multiple types of these satellites are there, which are remote sensing satellites. So how they are working? How do they work? So they are observing. Okay. So they are observing via infrared or radio waves. They are trying to observe via the infrared or radio waves. Okay. So like suppose that when we are talking about the sunlight is not only having the visible light which we can see. The sunlight is having infrared radiation also. The sunlight is having ultraviolet radiation also. The sunlight is having visible radiation also. When these things are incident upon the surface, they are being reflected or absorbed by these surfaces. So these remote sensing satellites, when we talk about the remote sensing satellites, what they actually do, they observe the amount of reflection or absorption of electromagnetic waves for assessing resources. So they are using this reflection or absorption of the EM waves for assessing of the resources. Okay. So this is one thing which we see in the case of remote sensing satellites. Okay. NISAR is also one example. NISAR is also one of the example of remote sensing satellites. So if we look at application, in agriculture, you can see that crop acreage estimation and yield forecasting. By looking at the crops, by assessing the health of the crops, they can give the yield forecast. They can monitor crop health, drought and pest stress. They can be mapping the rivers, the lakes, reservoirs, floods and droughts. They can also tell about groundwater potential zone mapping. They can do forest cover assessment and deforestation monitoring. Even biomass estimation and carbon stock assessment can also be done by remote sensing satellites. So when we talk about agriculture, water, forestry, or if we talk about minerals like fault, folds, lineaments, so their mapping can also be done. Cyclone tracking, flood mapping, landslide, damage assessment. These all things can also be done by remote sensing satellites. They can also do this urban sprawl analysis, infrastructure planning and land use change detection. So even the land use change detection can also be done by remote sensing satellites. Here in fact you will find that sea surface temperature, chlorophyll concentration, that can also be done. Even see this, chlorophyll concentration can be analyzed by the remote sensing satellites. They can also tell about the potential fishing zones. They can tell about glacier retreat, desertification, coastal erosion. They can tell about the climate change indicator and ecosystem stress. Even in defense also, border surveillance, terrain analysis, strategic installations, etc. that can also be done by remote sensing satellites. So from defense to climate to oceanography to environment to crop assessment, all these activities can be done by our remote sensing satellites. Let me give you some examples here. Okay, like we have multiple things. For example, resource sat, ocean sat, insat, cartosat, megatropics, resat, saral, IRS. These are the examples of different types of the remote sensing satellites for different purposes. So from urban planning to oceans mapping to coastal area erosion to disaster management to all these things, there is application of remote sensing satellites. So there was once a question also with respect to this, that what can Indian remote sensing satellites do? Now tell me one thing. Tell me one simple thing. Where in our Earth system, where would be this remote sensing satellites be mostly placed? Where there is a chance that we will be placing them? Low Earth orbit or geostationary orbit? In which area we will be placing most of the remote sensing satellites? In which area we would be placing most of the remote sensing satellites? Right now we are using it in defense also, in security also. These are also the potential areas of use of remote sensing satellites. So where in our Earth system, in which part we are going to place this remote sensing satellites? Geostationary, low Earth orbit, 2 answers. It is going on 2 by 2. What about other people? For wide coverage, GSO, okay. GSO, LEO. So it is a 50-50 question. Tell me one thing. They have to observe the infrared radiations which are being emitted. They have to observe the infrared radiations which are emitted by the various objects which are located on the Earth. So tell me, where it is more likely to be placed? We have to observe a plant. Let's say we have to observe a plant. So where it is more likely to be located? In low Earth orbit or high Earth orbit? Now tell me about this. If we have to observe a plant, the infrared radiations which are coming from plant, in which area, in which location we are more likely to place it? In the low Earth orbit or the high Earth orbit or geostationary orbit? So which one will be suitable choice? I think from here you can give the correct answer. High Earth orbit. Just think about this. If we have to take a clear picture of something, if we have to take a clear picture of certain thing, which one will be best? Nearby or too far? If we have to take a high resolution image of the crops, which one will be more suitable? Just to give you an example, let's say we have to assess that in the Madhya Pradesh region, what is the production of wheat? in a certain district, let's say this part of Madhya Pradesh. In this portion of Madhya Pradesh, what is the wheat production? We have to do the assessment of it. So for this assessment, what should be better? Low Earth orbit or geostationary? Geostationary is for wider coverage. 3 geostationary satellites can cover the entire Earth. But here our problem is not covering the Earth. We have to look at a very specific area. We have to look at a very special district, that in a particular district of Madhya Pradesh, what is the production of wheat? What is the yield of wheat? So for that very purpose, why there is a need for going to the geostationary orbit? We can do that precise measurement. We can do that precise measurement mostly from the low Earth orbits. Okay. So this is one thing that you have to understand. We have to do the assessment using high resolution images. So low Earth orbit will be the most suitable choice as compared to geostationary orbits. Geostationary are for communication, where we have to ensure the coverage. This is for high resolution image. We have to do the analysis here. So for that, we have to get this low Earth orbit. So that is the second part, second topic. Now coming to the third part. There are certain countries. Look at this. There are a number of countries. Colombia. Then we have Cuba. Then we have Mexico. And then we have Greenland. So they are the part of the 5 points resolution. They are the part of the 5-point resolution which may have been made by the US President on the New Year Eve. I told you all to make a New Year resolution. You may not have made the New Year resolution, and even if you have made, you may not have gone for execution of it. But the US President has made very strong resolutions this year. And one of the first resolution was Venezuela. So this one part has been done. Now the challenge is for the 4 countries here: Colombia, Cuba, Mexico, and Greenland. So there is an allegation. There is an allegation of this US President that these areas, especially these 3 areas, Colombia, Cuba, and Mexico, they are doing illegal migration. There is a problem of illegal migration in this area. There is also a problem of this drug trafficking, drug smuggling in this area. There is two such target of US President, that these areas are a source of illegal migration and at the same time drug trafficking. Okay. So they are saying that these are the major sources of drug smuggling and illegal migration in United States. So the next target for them is this 3 country. But what is for the Greenland? Greenland is very far away from it. It's like Greenland is part of the package plan. We are doing 4 annexations here. So why just make it 4? Let's make it 5. So for that purpose, Greenland is also part of the process. But if you look at this, there is another story here. If you look at this area of South America, if you look at this one portion here, Colombia and Venezuela, Cuba, and parts of Mexico, they are having significant reserves. They're having significant reserves of rare earth elements. They're having significant reserves of rare earth elements. They're having reserves of silver, gold. They're having oil. So resources have become a challenge for these countries. There is oil in some of them. Some of them are having silver, gold. Some of them are having rare earth elements. And at the same time, you will find that these countries, the Mexico, Cuba, and Colombia, they are also having good relations with China. They are also having good relations, especially the trade relations with respect to China. So this is not just like Donald Trump's policy. In fact, you will find it is the policy of the US government. They have been just waiting for the right person. They have seen that in their backyard, China is there, in Mexico also, in Cuba also, in Colombia also, in Venezuela also. And they have seen that China is doing very good trade with them. China is having an active control over the rare earth elements in this area. So for this purpose, these countries might become victim of US aggression. These countries might become victim of US aggression. Cuba, Colombia, and Mexico. And when we talk about Greenland, when we talk about this area of Greenland, what is the fault of Greenland? Greenland has a strategic position. It is having this strategic position. It is having that strategic position with respect to the Arctic. It is having that position with respect to the Arctic Ocean. And this Arctic Ocean is melting. There is opening up of new trade routes. There is opening up of new trade routes via the Arctic. And for this region, Greenland is there. And it's not the first time. US has been trying to get a control over Greenland for so many years. And they are now actively pursuing its Greenland ambitions. They were also saying that Canada should also be merged, but right now Canada is bigger in size. So having a control over Canada is somewhat difficult. So they might first try to have Greenland and other regions, and then they might go for Canada. So this is one part which we see here. Now, if you look at this, Greenland is also having critical raw minerals, critical raw materials. Okay. So Greenland is also a source of many of the critical raw materials also. So there are multiple things for which why the United States is all of a sudden interested in democracies across the world. US has some of the major allies which are dictatorial countries. US has good relations with Saudi Arabia, US has good relations with UAE, and in these countries also there is dictatorship. But they are not saying anything about dictatorship regime in Saudi Arabia or UAE or other countries. They are concerned about democracy only in certain areas, only in those areas which are having significant reserves and plus weaker governments. So they are using the dictatorship. They are choosing this dictatorship as a sole cause of taking control over all these nations or weak governance structure. If we go by that logic, that if there is a weak governance structure or if there is like a source of drug trade or source of drug cartel, so then if we look at our surrounding, particularly South Asia, you can see Myanmar is a source of drug smuggling. Bangladesh right now has no such governance. In Nepal also there is problem. There is problem in Sri Lanka also from time to time. And most favorably, our neighbor country, Pakistan, they have not been having any such government from the last 75 years. So if we go by that logic that a powerful country can try to take control over other country just because they don't have a functional government. So in that sense, we can make the entire South Asia as part of India. So this is one thing which we see. These are the locations which are there plus US ambition to control them. Okay. We are not commenting on that. Trump might want to establish Trump dynasty. Yes. सर लियो एसएसओ ऑर्बिट में सैटेलाइट 90 to 120 मिनट्स में अर्थ का चक्कर लगा लेती है. तो दिस शॉर्ट स्पैन ऑफ टाइम में कैसे ऑब्जर्वेशन करती है इन पर्टिकुलर सिंगल एरियाज. See, Chandresh, when it is going through that part, it has to just take a picture of the area. It has to just observe the lights which are coming from there. When you are taking a picture of any area, how much second does it take? How much time does it take to take the picture of one area? So for today, we are just seeing this part. Prelims specific article we will see tomorrow. I am giving you one question here. I am giving you this one question here. Recently, there was a growing awareness in our country about the importance of Himalayan nettle because it is found to be a sustainable source of what? Plus, who are all the members of Arctic Council? So this is one topic on which I want answer from all of you. Arctic Council. Who all are members of this Arctic Council? So this is one question which you all have to answer in the comment box. Tomorrow, we will cover the prelims specific topic also here. So today we were having this Shanti Bill, a comprehensive act. So it took some more time. It is 36,000 kilometer above. Yes, it's 36,000 kilometer above. What is the speed of electromagnetic wave? Tell me, Aditya, what is the speed of electromagnetic wave? It is just 36,000 kilometer. What is the speed of electromagnetic wave? Infrared radiations are also electromagnetic wave. And what is the speed of electromagnetic waves? 3 lakh kilometer per second. It is 3 lakh kilometer per second. You can understand from there. Observation from even 400 or 500 kilometer above the surface of Earth. It will not take even a blink of second to reach there. For the lights which are getting emitted from the Earth's surface, it will not even take a blink of a second to reach to the satellites. It will be instant. So let's meet in the next session. Thank you everyone. Take care and all the best. Thank you.